Morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. All right, let's see. Somebody's got something in chat. Oh, good morning. Good morning to you too, Cindy's. Try and leave the chat up here. Okay, we'll get started in a couple of minutes. Okay, folks, it's 8 o'clock. We'll get started. Good morning, everybody. If anybody's not muted, I'd like you to mute yourself, please. But if you want to ask a question, obviously you can unmute yourself. I'm just trying to block any background noise that might be occurring. All right, so I appreciate you all being here. I know it's early. So this is a live online class. I've been sending out emails about that, but I'm not sure if everybody got the notification about the timings and everything else, but we'll be talking about that today and what the requirements are. Okay, so I'm on the syllabus here for the class, and I'm just going to let you know what some of the details are about this syllabus. So starting out, how to contact me. I do have a cell phone here. This is my cell phone number, and you're welcome to call that during my office hours. And my office hours are over here. And if you click on that, it'll come up with a link. And there I am. And there's my office hours down here. Right, so you can call me on the phone. Now, if I'm on the phone with somebody else at the time, you can just leave a message, and I will get back to you during those office hours. So that's the story with those. I may answer if you call outside that time, possibly. We'll see. If otherwise, you can definitely send me an email. I'm pretty quick about answering emails. A lot of you had me before, so you know. All right, let's go back to syllabus here. Okay. I'll talk about the equipment requirement in a minute when I talk about Honor and how that's going to impact your testing. So let's focus first of all on attendance here. Now, with this class, attendance is not mandatory. However, I will be here 8 o'clock Tuesdays and Thursdays. My main focus will be going over whatever materials happen to be in the schedule. Now, the focus on these classes will be problem solving. So you'll get the most out of these classes. You'll get the most out of these classes by watching the videos that I have linked here in the syllabus. Now, I'm not sure if the links actually will go to the video. I think they do. As a student, I think they do. Has anybody tried them? No?
I tried the first one and it worked for me.
Okay, well, that's great. That's nice. Thank you. So these are the same videos as are in the actual course content, of course. And for the first class on Thursday, you should watch this video. And then I will focus mostly on solving those kinds of problems. Now, I will do a little bit of background during the classes, but not a whole lot. My expectation is at some point you will watch the video. I'm just saying it's more effective if you watch it before the class rather than after the class. These are going to be the main focus of your material. You know, there is a textbook you can have, but it's not going to be the focus of the course. The textbook I recommend if you want to have one, and again, it's optional, is the Trove book, but you can have any edition. You can pick up these old editions for less than $20 from this place that's named after a very long river in South America, but I can't say the name of. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can ask a friend. Okay. Anybody got any questions about textbook? All right. Somebody needs to mute themselves, I think. Not sure who. Somebody does. All right. What have we got? So we've got our attendance. Now, even tests. You see, the thing is on test days, or days when tests are due, I won't have any classes, but you know, you can do the test anytime, and I'll talk about that in a minute. There is opportunity here for extra credit as well, and the way that works out is that it closes at 11:59 p.m. on the day before the test, or the day before the test is due. You see, this is kind of interesting. It does have an element of strategy to it. You see, the tests are always due the following day, but you don't have to do them on the day they're due. You could do the tests before. And what that means is if you do the test before the extra credit closes, and let's say you don't do as well as you hoped, that gives you the opportunity to go back and say, oh, okay, I can do some extra credit here to raise my score. But you don't get that option if you wait until the day it's due. See? Think about that.
I have a quick question regarding the extra credit.
Sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, because I saw that.
Sorry.
That's okay. I saw that there are quizzes that, like you said, we could take before the test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you only get like one attempt for the quiz?
Well, let me show you this. I haven't gotten into that yet, but I'll show you. I'll show you the story with it. So let's say you're in. Well, let's see reaction orders. Here we go. There's a practice quiz. That's all you'll see as a student initially. You get unlimited attempts at that, but you need to get 80% on that, and then it opens the reaction orders credit quiz, and you get 2 attempts at that. Now, you don't have to get the full 100% to get the points on the extra credit. If you want to know how it impacts your grade, look in the grades area. Whoops, let me go in as a student here so you can see. So it gives me an opportunity here to show you the grades area, and there's all your extra credit here. Now, the extra credit is going to be all of these added up and divided by 2. I couldn't make these half a point. That's why I have to do it that way. So the amount of extra credit you can get on test 1 is 3.5 points in total, but it is extra credit.
So the practice one you could take however many times,
Yes.
but the one that will count for the score
Mm-hmm.
would be 2 attempts. And then it'll just give you whether it's 0.5 or 0.6
Mm-hmm.
or anything out of 1. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yep. That's how it'll work. Now, if you want a running total of how your extra credit's going, you go down here and you look at test 1 complete, or test whatever test you happen to be on. That's before you take the test. Then you can say, oh, okay, I've got that many points of extra credit. You know where you stand, and then you can take the test. Or if you take the test before the extra credit is due, then you've got a little bit of a leg up. You can say, oh, okay, now I've got to take these tests. Right, so the grades area is going to be very important to you because this is where you can follow your grade. Now, the way I've got it set up, unfortunately, it's going to always show an overall grade of F because of how I've got the grade book set up. It's a very calculation or formula-heavy grade book. But I make up for that by giving you a running grade down here. Grade as of test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. And that will give you an idea of how you're doing in the course after we've completed each test section. That would be my go-to if I was you, looking to see exactly how you're doing in the course. If anybody emails me, that's what I'm going to tell them. All right, I'll go back to course content here. All right, so the extra credit I told you is half those points, and every test has extra credit, just varying amounts of it. And if you want to know exactly how much, you can go to the grades area. You can add that up. Just divide it all by 2. All right, so the testing online. All right, let's take a look at. We'll go to the test 1 folder here, and you can see exactly what the story is going to be here. So I've got these lecture notes here at the top. These are PowerPoint notes, and these are printable versions of those exact same notes. These are what I use to a degree in class. So you can, if you want to, you can print out these notes and use them for notes during class if you want to. That's not necessary, but you can if you'd like. These are black and white, and there's 2 slides per page. So those are printable. If you try and print out the PowerPoint notes themselves, you're going to run out of blue ink very quick, so I wouldn't bother with that. But those are obviously going to be the full versions. You can see. There you go. Same thing, really, just on one set slide each and everything else. So here you've got this ungraded copy of test 1, and then you've got test 1. Now, the ungraded copy of test 1, you can take unlimited times. Test 1 is going to be the same test. I'll say it again. Test 1 is the same test as the ungraded copy. How do you know what you're going to be tested on? Practice, practice, practice. Do it again and again and again until you're good at it, and then you can take the test. What am I doing in class? Going over these kinds of questions or questions that lead to these kinds of questions. I'll be showing you how to do all that during these lectures. Now, these lectures will be recorded. You can go back and take a look at these anytime you like, and that's going to be up to you. Obviously, I think you'll get more out of it if you come to class, but if you can't, that's okay as well. But you have unparalleled flexibility as far as attendance goes, because you don't even have to be here for tests. But the tests do have to be taken by the due date. That's unnegotiable. But you can take them any time up to the due date. Anytime. As I said, you will benefit yourself by taking them earlier. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out, does anybody have any questions about the testing so far? I'll talk about Unlock in a second.
I do, again, really quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for the ungraded copy, like I know you said we could take it multiple attempts,
Mm-hmm.
but are they like different questions for all the different attempts, or is it the same question that we can just practice over and over? And then,
Sometimes most of the time, it's the same question with different numbers.
okay,
Okay. Sometimes, though, it's a question grouping that are very similar, but they might have subtle changes to them.
okay,
But the point being, if you take this enough times, you'll see every instance of any question type that might occur, and it's just a matter of getting good at the questions.
okay. And that's what would be similar for test one, is
That's
the
right.
idea of those questions, but they might have different numbers or
Well,
wording.
they definitely will have different numbers because that's the way they're set up. They're always set up to have different numbers.
Gotcha.
But the questions will be the same. I mean, if you can do, the point is, if you can do the questions here, then you can do the questions here.
Okay. Thank you.
It's very transparent. It's very transparent. I'll open it up so you can get an idea of what these tests look like. This is the ungraded copy, of course. So what will you notice here? Well, you've got the questions, and as you can see, well, so see what I'm talking about is that that's a question there, but all the numbers will be different. Every time you take this, all these numbers will be different. Of course, the answer will be different as well. And of course, it goes without saying, you get the answers every time you submit. Now, you'll notice that there's any reference sheets you need are in the actual tests themselves, just like they will be in the real test. Right, these two things here are reference sheets. Well, this is the same thing. It's just an accessible version. When I say accessible, if anytime you see accessible, all that means is that somebody who's blind would be able to read this with a screen reader, whereas this is unreadable on a screen reader. So for you, just ignore anything that says accessible version. So you can see here all these different questions. As I said, you know, they're going to be pretty much the same thing, just with different numbers. Yeah, so there you go. Anybody have any questions about the test so far? I haven't talked about unlock, but I will in a second. Okay. Now I want to keep everybody in mind here. Oh, somebody says their volume's really low. Is anybody having trouble hearing me? Well, my recommendation for you, Malika, would be to turn up your volume. I'm hoping that will fix the problem. Okay. Just realize, are you having a little trouble as well with the volume? All right, let me see if I can raise the volume.
Sound fine to me, but I don't know.
Let me see. You can't find the meeting? I'm sorry, I couldn't.
No, I said you sound fine to me.
Oh, you said, oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, let me see. I've got to look at the settings here. I'm just going to raise the volume a bit here. If I can.
I think you've got to check the box.
I've got to check the box. I figured it out. Thank you. All right. Hopefully that'll help if anybody's having trouble. I just didn't want to sound too distorted or anything. All right. Somebody's asking if we'll have a periodic table, and the answer is yes. It'll be inside the test. Oh, if it's needed. Not all the tests need a periodic table, if you can believe that. But if it's required, it'll be there.
Are we able to use a printable version of a periodic table? If
No.
we, no, okay.
No. But if you need it, it'll be in the test, right? It will be there. If you're connected with SPC accessibility, how will that work in this test setting? If you have accommodations, I'll be in contact with you. But chances are it's just going to be pretty much the same thing, just with extra time. If anybody has any specific questions with regards to accommodation, you'll need to contact me personally about it. I don't want to, for confidentiality reasons, I can't go into that with the whole class. How many questions are usually on the test? Well, it's going to depend. It's going to depend. I can't really tell you. All I can tell you is that it's going to be the same number of questions on the real test as you have on the ungraded copy, because they're the same questions. I know a lot of you don't believe me. You don't trust me. You don't trust me. You think I'm lying. It's the same. Do you need an access code for online homework? Nope. Everything's in my courses. There are no proprietary platforms at all. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them so much. Ugh. Do we need an access code for online homework? No, everything's just there. Yep. You trust me. Well, that's nice. Thank you, Ariana. Just realize in chat, chat's not private, okay? Keep that in mind. Chat's not private. But I have to have it open, otherwise I won't know who's talking to me or who has questions, who doesn't have a mic, okay? Will we need a calculator? No, you will not. That's something I have to talk about here. You'll need to use this ONOLOG calculator. It's an on-screen calculator. Now you'll notice in the ungraded copy, you have access to it. What I recommend you do with it, open it in a new window. Right, there it is. And then, whoops, let's shrink it. And then put it off to the side of your test like that. And then you can practice with it. Now you might say, well, why don't I let you use a regular handheld calculator? The problem is with ONOLOG can't distinguish a handheld calculator from a cell phone. So ONOLOG can't tell if you're using a cell phone or a calculator. So that's why I want you to practice with the ONOLOG calculator while you're doing this test here. That would be the idea. Now there are some foibles to the calculator, especially with regard to entry of exponents. I'll go through all that in class. That's what these classes are for. It's to help you with that kind of thing and prepare you for the tests. That's the whole purpose of all of these lectures that I'll be doing. I am going to be incredibly transparent. I'll be going through these questions, showing you how to do them in class time, in real time. Then you can practice them. And they're the same questions as you'll be tested on. There is absolutely nothing being hidden here from you. You can do the ungraded copy. You get 90% on that. I can't see how you'd be failing the test. I really don't. Now they are closed books. There's no notes. And all the reference sheets are inside. You are allowed to have scratch paper, and I'd recommend having some. Now the idea with ONOLOG is that you will, well, first of all, let's go take a look at something else here. Let me get out of here. I'll submit the quiz and get out. No, I don't want to do that. There we go. Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. I'll get back into the course. I'd like to, somebody's not on mute here. I can hear a lot of static background. If somebody could please, whoever's doing that, could you just mute your microphone, please? So down the bottom of table of contents, we've got this ONOLOG practice exam and informational video. This will give you an idea of what happens when you go into ONOLOG. So you'll be asked to present an ID, and then you'll be asked to do a 360-degree room scan. And that just allows me to see if there's anything around that shouldn't be around. I think, let me see what I've got in the syllabus about it. I think I've got the actual thing that's in ONOLOG in the syllabus as well. Let's have a look. No, I don't think I've actually got the same message there, but if the webcam is integrated into your monitor or laptop, and a lot of people's are, show me that you don't have materials outside the range of the webcam by using a handheld mirror. So that's what I'd like you to do. This is all part of the 360-degree room scan. Now, what happens is you take this room scan, and then I can watch it. I can see. Afterwards, it gets recorded. That's the whole idea of it. And the whole point of the hand mirror is that, technically, let's say you have a laptop, and you've got a webcam at the top of the laptop. Now, there's going to be places that webcam can't see, like the screen, for example. The webcam on top of a laptop doesn't show the screen. So technically, I don't know, possible somebody could tape notes to the screen, actual paper notes. I don't want to see that. I don't want people doing it, is my point. All right, does anybody have any questions? Now, I know it's a bit of a pain, but the thing with Onolock is that I can't just have it open slather. It gives me the power to authenticate it. It allows me to make sure that the person logged in is the person actually taking the test. And that's of great importance to me, because otherwise, anybody could just take these tests. Anybody. I've heard of people hiring other people to take tests for them online. I don't want that to happen, so that's why we have the Onolock. I know it's annoying, but that's what we're doing with it. Now, I think you get. Let's have a look at the testing here. So here requirements: no breaks allowed, no handheld electronic devices. Scientific calculator and Onolock is the only one that may be used. Test a closed book with no notes allowed. I need the thorough 360-degree room scan. And, if it's integrated, the webcam's integrated, you'll need a handheld mirror. What else? Yeah, keep quiet during the test. Sometimes people talk to themselves during the test. That gets flagged. So, I'd just rather you keep quiet during the test. Obviously, if you've got other distractions, sometimes people have dogs and all sorts of things in the background. Just try and do it in a non-distraction environment. Okay, due dates and extensions. Often, it won't surprise you, people leave everything to the day it's due. I think it's a recipe for disaster. It really is. It really is. Of course, what happens is that the very people who leave it to the last minute, they're the ones I always have the problems with as far as the technical issues. It's always an emergency. It's always something that happens, and it always happens at the last minute when it can't be fixed before the due date is over. So what I'm saying here is don't leave it till the last minute. If you do leave it to the last minute, you're on your own. I'll say that again. Leave it to the last minute, you're on your own. I can't guarantee I can help you, especially if you're there at 11 o'clock at night. I've already gone to bed at that point. So, don't expect too much grace in that instance, because you would have been because you left to the last minute. I mean, some people like to live on the edge. I get it. It's all that adrenaline rush and everything else. But, that's there's going to be a price to pay for that. Does anybody have any questions? Now, remember, the tests don't have to be taken on the day they're due. They can be taken any time up to that point. When are the tests due? We'll take a look in the schedule, you'll see. First test will be due, there we go, Thursday. See, test 1 due today, Thursday, September 10th. No class, test 1 Tuesday. So on test days, there won't be any class. But look here, test review. What's that mean? It means that the material should be covered by the Thursday of the previous week. That gives you a week to do all your practice and everything. This is an actual class session, this test 1 review. But what have we been doing all this other time? Well, basically reviewing for the test, just in detail here. And this is more of sort of an overview at this point. And then during that week, you're doing practice on the ungraded copy. And then hopefully during that time, you'll also take the test. And that's the way it's going to be for the entire course. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. How do we follow along the TRO textbook if we're planning to use it? You're not going to like my answer to that, but you're going to be using the index. But I will say that the chapters pretty much line up with the way I've got the course ordered. There are some exceptions to that, but for the most part, it pretty much follows along with that. If you want to use the TRO textbook, there's no problem with that. You can even buy the homework platform if you want to, but you'll be on your own to find problems that match. You won't need them though. I feel like I have plenty of resources in the course. But if you want extra resources, then you can always have the textbook. Handheld calculator, we've unlocked before, it was never an issue. I would say, Marissa, she's asking about the handheld calculator. I would say that if you want to use the handheld calculator, then you're going to have an accommodation to use it. That would be my answer to that. I'm sorry, Marissa, I didn't mean for you to have to reveal that, but then you're in the clear. So yes, if you have an accessibilities accommodation, then you can use a handheld calculator. All right. What else have we got here? Anybody have any other questions about testing? Anybody got any questions about how the course is going to be run, or what you should be doing, to study for the tests or prepare or anything? Anybody got any questions about that? So I see where we can take quizzes to practice with, but there are assignments. Well, I mean, the main thing I would be practicing would be the ungraded practice test. I'll get to the tutoring in a second. So yes, Sindus, I would just do that ungraded practice test again and again and again, as well as the extra credit quizzes, and that should be sufficient for you. Live tutoring. You can use tutor.com, which is free, and it will link you first to the SPC tutors. And those SPC tutors are really good. I can recommend Elizabeth Kittle, Kittle. She's a live tutor who works on the Seminole campus. And I believe that there's going to be limited live tutoring at the Learning Support Commons on each campus. You'll have to do that all by appointment though. And to do that, you can access the Learning Support Commons through the SPC website. Any other questions about the live tutoring? Okay, now you can do virtual tutoring as well. That's sort of live as well, but you're obviously on screen. Okay, I took Intro to Chem with you and you had assignments. Okay, yeah. Well, the assignments, no, not really. The ungraded copy of the test is kind of your assignments if you want to look at it that way, Sindus. Gillian, yes, I love Elizabeth. She is great and thorough. Yes, there you go. So nothing is due until September as of now. Yes, that's true. So Marissa, I will just to sort of piggyback on that question here. I have thought in the past about making rolling due dates, especially on some of the extra credit, but I've decided not to do that. I want to give you the flexibility of being able to take it whenever you want. Everything will be on the, will be also on this home page here. If you look at the upcoming events, it gives you a very good idea of what's going on. Well, it's even got the live classes here when they are. And then at some point it will show all this other stuff when it's due. That's all in the calendar. Let me see. Did I answer that question? Yeah. So nothing is due until September. That's right. That's right. But should you wait? No. Don't wait. Don't wait. Okay. This happened to me on my Chem 1 final. What should we do if Unlocker is unavailable during the exam? Well, let's hope that that doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen. That would have been a technical glitch. It hasn't. I've never seen it happen for me or any of my students in my classes. I think it might have been a glitch, Jack. I'm hoping that wouldn't happen. I'd contact Honorlock help through their chat during the test. That's what I would do. Hopefully they can fix it. If they can't, there'll be a record of your conversation with them, so I'll know. And what they would probably do, if you chat to them and say, well, look, the calculator's not working, then they'll probably go ahead and say, well, use a handheld calculator and we'll notify the instructor. So I'll know the story. I'll know exactly what happened. Is that okay, Jack? All right. Any other questions? You don't have to put them in the questions in chat. You can unmute and speak if you'd like. Anybody got any other questions? Okay. All right. What have we got? Extensions. All right. Let's talk about the grading. So there are 4 tests. Now let's see what makes up the tests, and this is going to be important. So this is why you should, if you have any doubts, come back to the syllabus to look at this. What makes up test 1? So test 1 is going to be test 1, and that's going to be 100%. And then there's any extra credit that goes along with that, and I've told you about the conditions for the extra credit up here in extra credit. I told you that it's going to be half the aggregate or the sum of everything that you've done for extra credit. That gets added to your score. That becomes your complete test 1 score. You can get a running total of that in the grades area as you go. Test 2 is the same, 100% any extra test 2 credit. Okay, test 3. The test is actually 70%, and then there's also 20% towards some essays that you'll need to submit to a Dropbox. They're not anything awful. They're only 50-word essays, and there's like 7 of them for a test 3 that you'll do. 50 words each, including and plus reactions. But I'll show you that as I go. And then there's a units quiz as well. That's not taken under Honorlock. That's worth 10%. And then there's extra credit that goes along with that as well. And the units quiz it's not a unit quiz, it's units, like grams, kilograms and stuff, because you can't really show your work on the test. Well, you can. I'll show you how you can do that in a minute. But there's that lets me know that you understand dimensional analysis as regards the calculations and things. It's more like a calculations quiz, I guess. But you can take that unlimited times and get, it just takes the highest grade, and that's not done under Honorlock. Test 4, the same story. You've got the essays, you've got the test, and you've got the units quiz, and then there's any extra credit that goes along with that. So if you get more than 90% on all 4 tests, it has to be more than 90, then you can exempt the final with an A. More than 80%, you can exempt the final with a B. If you end up having to take the final because you got less than 80% on any test, then everything gets averaged in and that becomes your grade. Does anybody have any questions about the grading? Anything at all?
I have a question actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I used Honorlock in my chem class last semester.
Okay.
And whenever we used our own scratch paper, we had to show it to the camera after we did our problems. Would we have to do that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. Well, I'm not gonna require that.
Okay.
But if you might get a pop in from a proctor occasionally, and I'll get a record of that. But that's all. I mean,
okay.
And that would just be because you're looking down.
Okay.
But I expect that. I expect that to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to make it easy, but at the same time, I want to make it secure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, thanks. All right, any other questions so far? Okay, so that's how the grading works. The aim would be to try and get more than 90%. You know, at least a quarter to a third of the class usually succeeds in getting 90% on all 4 tests and not having to take the final. So it is very doable, but it's not easy, right? I mean, you do have to really work hard to do that. But that's the whole point. If you're going to exempt the final with an A, then you need to have gotten an A on everything, and that's the way I've got it set up. So I've got some examples of grade scenarios down here as well. So you can see you've got all these different 90s here for this guy. You got an A. And now Teresa Green, she got 86 on the second test, and she didn't take the final, so she ended up with a B. Even though the average there is more than 90, that doesn't matter. What matters is she got less than 90 on one test. So she really should have tried to take the final in order to get an A. Now the thing is that had Teresa taken the final, even got a 0, it wouldn't have affected her B. She could not end with anything lower than a B. So taking the final can't hurt you. You have nothing to lose by taking the final in that situation. So looking at the other scenarios here, you see Betty, she got a B, but because she got 80, she got 80s on all these here. And John Q, what happened with him? You see, the final, I didn't say this before, final replaces one lower test grade. So what happened was he got a 63 on test 2, and he got an 89 on the final. The 89 replaced the 63, and then all 5 of those scores got averaged. And then he ended up with an A in the class. So the same thing can happen with you. If the final can replace one lower test grade, and that can make up for one poor test performance. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
It's about the Wi-Fi. On my last exam for last semester, my Wi-Fi would kind of cut out for during the honor lock, but it would let me log back in. I didn't know if it was going to flag it or anything if that happened.
It'll get flagged, Alyssa, if that does happen.
Okay.
And you know, obviously, if it's off for a long time,
Yeah.
I may require a retake.
Okay.
So I guess the thing would be, if your Wi-Fi is spotty, then you should do something to fix it.
Okay. I'll also send you like an email too if it does happen.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those of you who do have spotty Wi-Fi, do something to fix it. I mean, there are always things you could do. If you've got Spectrum or whatever service provider you have, you can always talk to them about it. They can provide to you range extenders, whatever you need, or you can get a range extender, whatever you need in order to make your Wi-Fi workable for this situation here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, does anybody have any other questions about anything I've talked about, really? Anything at all? I love the format of class, looking forward to it. Thank you, Marissa, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be transparent. It's going to be I challenge anybody to tell me it won't be transparent. You know, you can say what you like, but you know, it's everything's out there for you. It's all out there. You've got all the resources you need. You'll have me. You'll have the opportunity to have these classes every twice a week, 8 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we'll be going over exactly what's on the test. No secrets, no tricks. It's all going to be the same thing. Does anybody have anything else I'd like to add? Anything else? All right, for those students who do have accommodations, I will be in contact with you. I will have any extra time or anything added by the end of the week. But if anybody specifically has any questions about accommodations, please email me and we will get them sorted out. But the main thing, I'll harp on this again, is due dates. You know, that's what I spend most of my time doing is I don't actually spend most of my time answering student questions about material. I spend most of my time about, handling emergencies. And I want people to be sure that they do stuff before it's due and not to wait till the last minute. All these problems always arise on the due day for some reason, and I don't know. I don't want that to be the case here. Will I make announcements to prompt us when certain assignments and extra credit work is coming due? Occasionally, Lonnie, I think I'll do that. I'll certainly do it in class. And you can always go to the course homepage here and look at the upcoming events. Everything's on the calendar. Everything that's in the course is always on the calendar. So just monitor the upcoming events, and that's how you'll know. I think if you've got your notifications set up properly as well in My Courses, then you should get notifications that things are going to be due in a few days. Can somebody confirm that?
I've had classes like that where it'll sometimes like tell me I have a quiz or a test ending soon because it'll see like the due date availability. So
Right, but I think you have to set that up in your notifications.
You can also download the Pulse app. It's like connected to SPC and it tells you your due dates too.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm not a real fan of the Pulse app, but it is good for that.
Yeah, it works decent.
Yes, you can enter your phone number to get notifications. Now, if you're not sure about how to set that up, call the SPC Help Desk, 341-HELP, 341-HELP. It's got that in the syllabus as well. But they'll be able to help you set up your notifications if you haven't got them set up. And tell you how to set up your Pulse app as well, even though that's pretty easy to set up. It's not really a big deal, just like any other app, really. All right, any other questions? You've all been asking really good questions. I like that. That's nice. All right, any other thoughts? Any other questions? All right, so for Thursday's class, here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you, I wasn't going to cover anything today. I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to cover anything today. I wanted to give you the opportunity to do some stuff before the class. And our first class is going to be on Thursday, and I want you to watch this video, Introduction to Reaction Kinetics. You'll notice it's got these Q questions next to it. Yeah, let me point those out. I'll tell you a little bit about that, why those are there. So remember that this is all based on a class that had a paper test. And these are the paper tests. Now, obviously, you won't be doing the paper tests, but the tests you're actually doing are questions that are made up based on these test questions. So when I've got Q1, when I've got Q1 on the videos, that's what I'm referring to. Question 1 on the paper test. That's if you're looking for some sort of context. But during the classes, I'll definitely be doing that. What I usually do is I'll pull up the paper test, and then I'll show you how those questions that you're doing relate to that, because it kind of gives you an overview of what I'm trying to show you. But you'll see you'll see the Q here. That's the question number, and these are in the videos here. All right. Okay, any other questions that anybody has about what you need to be doing? All right. Okay, well, I guess we'll leave it there for today then. Thanks for coming today, and I really appreciate your attendance here. Remember, you do have to attend one of the first 4 sessions. So anybody who's watching this afterwards, make sure you attend one of the first 4 sessions, or possibly do some quizzes or something. Let me know you're around. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Oops. If anybody's sort of hanging around, I'll answer any questions privately for whoever's left. I have a record of your attendance, Lonnie. All right. Any other questions? Let's see who else is around here. I guess that's everybody. All right. Okay. Catherine, do you need anything? Okay. Sundus, do you need anything?
No, I'm sorry. I was just letting my daughter know. I was just telling her bye before she went to school, so I walked away for 2 seconds.
No, it's okay. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Ernie, are you all right? She's gone. All right. And Lonnie, I think I've fixed your issue. Let me know if you have trouble with the enrollment, Lonnie. All right, Catherine, I don't think you're around. Oh no, she's gone. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you. Well, talk to you later, Lonnie.